Did you know it takes 5 months to create just one episode of Bluey? It's not just because of the incredibly well-done animation and the beautifully designed settings that feature a clean and polished look, but also because of the details they include in those settings, which totally justify the time it takes to complete an episode. For example, in the episode Fruit Bat from Season 1, Bluey is being grumpy because she doesn't want to go to sleep and is trying hard to stay awake. She decides she wants to turn into a fruit bat because they're nocturnal animals. No, I'm not talking about that movie with Amy Adams. Yes, the movie is great, and you should watch it if you're over 37 because it's pretty heavy. But the nocturnal animal I'm talking about here is the bat. Focus. Okay, moving on. The episode takes us through Bluey's adventure in the dream world, but the detail we need to focus on is this photo in her room. Look closely at the photo. It's a picture of Bluey and Bingo that looks like a selfie. In it, Bluey has one eye closed and her tongue sticking out. But if we jump ahead 2 seasons to the episode Bedroom, the one where Bluey wants her own room, and poor Bandit has to keep rearranging the furniture, at one point we can see the same photo in the girls' shared room, and now the photo is different. It's still a selfie, but now both girls have the same expression, and Bluey doesn't have one eye closed or her tongue sticking out anymore. Could this be a continuity error? Or did Bluey just decide to change the photo? I have no idea. All I know is that this is just one of the many cool details we've picked out to show you in Bluey, right here on Zigzag. We've already talked in another episode about the long dog, the stretchy dog, and how it sometimes appears in themed forms that make sense for the episode's story. Well, in the final episode of Season 3, after we see Bandit trying to dodge the individual games of his 2 daughters to watch the game, we get a surprise at the very end. Grown-up Bluey. Right when Chili is walking toward the door to answer it, we can see the long dog sitting in the corner, all robot-like, as if it's a cyborg or something. It even has a cannon on one of its paws. This is a reference to the toy Bluey used throughout the entire episode, and the one her son, whom we're already calling Roxy, uses on Bandit in the final scene before the credits. Another detail that's incredibly subtle and rarely talked about is the true friendship between Bingo and Lila. The two meet in the episode where Bandit has to take Bingo to school, and Lila is very scared to talk to other people because she's really shy, and it's her first day at her new school. We see her finally work up the courage to talk to someone when Bingo comes along, completely unbothered by Lila's fear, just being herself, and immediately including Lila in her game. It's so heartwarming to see how things worked out for Lila because, at the end of the episode, we can see that she and Bingo are going to be lifelong friends, going through all the important milestones together and always standing side by side in the photos. But their friendship goes beyond just spending time together and being classmates. They are true friends on an emotional level, and we can see that throughout the series. For example, in the episode Pass the Parcel from Season 3, when all the families are gathered with their kids to play Pass the Parcel, where the music stops and the person holding the package gets a prize, and then the game continues. A disagreement arises among the parents because Lucky's dad doesn't like the rule where everyone gets a prize. He changes it back to the original rules, where there's only one big prize in the final layer of the package, rather than small prizes in each layer. At first, the kids hate this idea, and so do the parents. With every new birthday party, they start to appreciate Lucky's dad's approach. They begin to enjoy the thrill and mystery of who will win the big prize and what that prize will be. The lesson here comes from Bingo's perspective, as she starts to learn how to lose and realizes it's also nice to see her friends happy and getting great gifts, to the point where she stops caring so much about winning the prize herself. But the first time this happens, Bingo didn't like the idea at all. In fact, she hated it and was so upset that she ran off crying to hug Chili. And in this scene, for just a split second, you can see how Lila feels her friend's pain. She stretches out her arms to try to hug Bingo, and if you look closely, you can even see a little tear in her eyes. You can tell Lila is the kind of friend who cries when you cry and laughs when you laugh. A true well of empathy. And a friendship like that is hard to come by. Just like the challenge I have for you today. If you can subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications in 3 seconds, type "I did it" in the comments so we can give you a shout out and leave a heart on your comment. The next secret is more of a fun fact. But did you know there are episodes of Bluey that don't focus on her? Even worse, where she doesn't even appear. That's right. The main character of the show, who the series is named after, gets sidelined 3 times. The first time this happens is in the episode Army, where we meet Jack Russell for the first time. This is the episode where he's transferring to a new school because he didn't adapt well to his previous one due to struggles with memory, following instructions, and sitting still for long periods. This happens because he's likely a child with ADH, and these are very common characteristics of people with this condition. But what better way to learn to handle all this under enemy fire during a military battle alongside his sergeant? That's the game Jack encounters with Rusty, where he ends up tackling all the challenges he was shown to have earlier. He learns to memorize the names of hills and trees, learns to stay still while standing guard as his sergeant naps, and follows all of Rusty's instructions to the letter. Speaking of Rusty, did you know he was supposed to be the protagonist? Can you imagine the show being called Rusty with Bluey as the sidekick? That's exactly her role in this episode. Or actually, not even that, since she only shows up in this one brief opening scene. Seriously, she's on screen for literally 4 seconds in her own show. But in the next 2 episodes, she doesn't appear at all. The first of these is the episode Turtle Boy, which is entirely focused on Bandit and Bingo. This is the episode where the 2 of them go to the park, and Bingo finds a little turtle toy that she really loves, but Bandit doesn't let her take it home. She grows very attached to the toy and takes great care of it so she can always play with it whenever they go back to the park. And the other episode, where Bluey doesn't appear at all, is Slide, where Bandit buys a water slide for Bingo and her school friend Lila to play on, while he peacefully tends to the backyard plants. This entire episode focuses on how Bingo and Lila are such sweet little girls that they pause their playtime to rescue tiny insects that wander onto the slide, completely unaware of the danger they're in. Going back to the episode Surprise, there's another detail that hides many small elements in the same scene. It happens just before Bluey rings the doorbell, during a time transition showing the healer house from the outside. We can see that some things have changed, like the tree that has fully grown and the palm tree on the other side, which has also gotten much bigger. The radio, or cell tower, has been replaced by a wind turbine, and the houses on the right have all been replaced by super tall and apparently high-tech buildings. And to further reinforce the idea that this is set in the future, we can see some drones flying freely through the air, making deliveries. This kind of thing already exists today with Amazon drones. It will definitely be more common and widespread in the future. And the last detail that changes in this scene is that now they have an extra trash bin with a blue lid. If you want to keep discussing details in Bluey, join our Discord community exclusively for ages 13 and up. An internal reference in Bluey is similar to the long dog that appears in every episode, which we've already discussed here on the channel. This hidden connection throughout the episodes is the tennis balls that can be spotted all over the corners of the healer house. A quick example of how this happens is in the episode Hotel, where the girls are staff at a luxury hotel and Bandit is the guest. When he's at the reception, talking to Bluey, just slightly off screen but still visible, there's a picture on the wall with yet another tennis ball. And a new tennis ball we recently noticed in another episode of Bluey is in the episode The Claw, where Bluey gets upset because she couldn't win the box of chocolates from the claw machine at the restaurant. Then, on the way home, Chili comes up with the idea to pretend to be the claw and give them the prizes they want. Bluey doesn't find it fun because it's too easy. That's when Bandit comes to the rescue. He takes over the claw performance and makes the game more exciting for them by offering unlimited ice cream if they win. The new tennis ball we noticed is right here in this scene. When we see the claw's perspective in first person, it's just below Bandit's hand, way in the background. And, as usual, at the beginning of the same episode, there are tennis balls along with the Hamtaro plush toy scattered in the living room.